All right, call roll.
Gehring,
Yeah.
Jacobson,
Here.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Here.
Waltner.
Present.
Minutes last meeting.
Move to accept.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Vouchers and salaries.
We got an updated one, is that correct?
Yes. The highlighted one was added.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Call roll.
Jacobson? Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring.
Yes.
Financial report.
Motion to accept.
Second at least.
Call roll.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring,
Yes.
Jacobson.
Yes.
Special event permit, mutton run. I'm gonna presume that's you, Vernetta.
I don't have anything really to add, aside from what's on the, I don't know if they got a copy of what I,
Yes, they have it.
it basically like it was 2 years ago, same route through town, from Salem Home to the fire station, and then west a block or two blocks, and then down and out of town to the golf course. And there's some rural areas for the 10K that will be included, but as far as town, it's just basically Main Street, and then a small group, the walking group, will go by Lions Park and down past the funeral home and around, and we'll finish on the soccer field at the Arboretum area.
Councilman, do you have any questions?
Move to honor the special event permit.
Do a second.
Second that.
Call roll.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring, Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Quick.
Let me know if you have any other questions later.
All righty.
Thank you.
Oh, and anybody can enter, even the lot.
Good to know.
Special event liquor license, Chiswick Festival. Jay, is that you?
Yep, representing the Chiswick Festival, yes.
Okay, we've got your insurance on file, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other councilmen have any other questions?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Yeah.
Map on the back
Euchre,
side.
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring, Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Liquor cash contract, is that what you needed, Jay?
Yep, that's all I need, but I'll stick around for the next two.
No, that's fine, that's fine. I'm just making sure we took care of you. Liquor cash, contract. Mr. Euchre, explain.
Yeah, we talked about it last meeting that with the municipal tax coming in at the 1%, that as of July 1st it started, that there's two establishments in Freeman that each have a $2,500 bond, a cash bond contract. It's Hoots and Freeman Shopping Center. It's $2,500 bonds are sitting in Court Trust Bank. And they were established when the liquor licenses first went out. It was to cover their bill, which hasn't been relevant anyway for several years. But anyway, those funds are sitting there, and we should redeem them.
Return them. Yeah, and then, how about inventory?
And then the inventories were taken. There's approximately $55,000 in inventories, so.
Okay. And that's
Between the-
15%.
Between the two,
And that's 15% of that
yep, is about $8,250.
$8,200 and plus the
Plus, it-
5,000.
yep.
Yeah, needs to be refunded.
So do we need a motion on that?
So we would need a motion to redeem the bonds.
I make a motion.
I'll second that.
Is there a second?
I did, I second it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes,
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes,
And then we would need a motion on the 15%, redeeming the 15% on the present inventory.
I'll make
Correct.
that motion to refund the inventory.
I'll second that, Lisa.
Percentage.
Gehring,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Waltner.
Yes.
No. It's not that I don't want you here, Jay. Water restrictions.
Well, we know we're at 10 to 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Since we've done that, the 15th, we used 306,000 gallons. And the 16th was only 266. 17th was 302. 277, 256, 230. That's when we started getting the rain and cooling down. 189, wonderful. 344. 344. 181. So I don't know what's happening them days. 339. 223. 231, nice and cool, nice and cool. 171. 262 and 261.
And our allowance is,
280, isn't it?
Yeah.
so we've been going over and
But I'm wondering, is our allowance, is it set at 280 or is it 280 average like for a year
It's set at 280 as you buy. That's how
per
it's set.
day?
So I don't know, I think it's gonna get hot again. So I don't know what to do.
yeah, we've been going over by considerable amounts.
I mean, and I haven't, you seen any extra watering? I haven't seen nobody extra water.
There's been a few that I've, stopped today, you can't water between 10 and 7, do we hit me up on one? But other than that, I haven't really seen anybody watering.
Also, I see the schools on almost every single day, even if they're training.
Probably on a timer, huh?
Now they're on timers.
Same way with DeWalt and Walnut Village.
They'll
They-
go when it's
they
raining.
run Constant tubes. School, that's watering the football field, practice field.
Right.
Right, Paul.
That's a lot going on right there.
I don't know, what do you think? Every other day, odd even?
Would that be, what's the easiest? I mean, I think odd even. I
Odd
mean,
even,
It's gotta be enforced,
yeah, what's the easiest,
Where do you go
split the
north?
town on Sixth Street?
North and south, yeah.
I mean, what would be the easiest to enforce? I don't know, ask the man, he's,
I mean, whatever you guys, I drive around, just look for anybody watering, that's all I do. If I find them, then let them know, but.
I'm guessing
If
it's
you guys
heavier
wanna
watering
I'll
on it.
work with you on that.
There's gonna be heavier watering on the south side of Sixth Street than the north side of Sixth Street. No
that's what
question.
I was thinking, yeah.
That's
so
why I think odd and even would be better.
Probably
More balanced.
more balanced.
Yeah. Probably easier to keep track of too, personally.
Well, I guess we can try it. Go odd even starting tomorrow. Odd on, what's tomorrow's,
Ninth.
9th, odd on
I don't know.
the odd days and even on the even numbers.
Mhm.
So that's my motion.
Is it still gonna be 10 and 7 even on the,
Yes.
Yeah, I think so, because
Yeah.
we would be
Yeah.
probably defeating the
Yeah.
purpose the other
In
way.
addition to,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I'll go.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring.
We have a request to waive rubble site fees for Darren Raisler.
Yes.
Second.
That was. Oh, car roll, let's just skip this again.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring, Jacobson,
Yes.
We've got Paul down for the 7 o'clock hour. Are you waiting for somebody? Are there people? Because I can skip on down and we can push, I can,
I know Michelle Newhart was planning to come.
okay. Let's go, we do not need a Board of Adjustment, am I correct, Lonnie?
That's correct.
Correct. You want to do that one?
Might as well get it out of the way.
Huh?
Might as well get it out of the way.
Okay, we met the variance, or excuse me, the variance, the zoning committee met for a variance on, no, for Mr. Douglas, and it was denied. He wanted a 5-foot variance, so there'd be 5 foot from the property line. He wanted to add 15 foot to his garage. And where the property's situated and its neighbors, it was, I mean, the back of the house of the neighbor's property is only 10 foot from the property line, so you'd have a garage that's just 15 foot away from your window, so it was denied. So we don't need a Board of Adjustment, but we do need a motion to deny, because he could actually be here right now asking again if he wanted to, but he isn't, so I make a motion that we deny the variance by recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Second.
Call roll.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring, Jacobson,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
Let's have the second reading of, is it the parking ordinance, 2021-10? I know I'm skipping around on here, but
So we just need a motion on this for now?
Now we need a motion officially.
A question, it was regarding the, I think we added something about licensed and
unlicensable.
unlicensable vehicles. And what is that, what is adding that, or with that clause in there, what is that entailing, I guess, is
Gosh, Blaine.
Okay, parking over allowed specified motor vehicles, major recreational equipment, and other non-licensable equipment under the conditional use is that you're asking for over a total of 4 on the trailers and the cars, okay?
Okay,
You can ask for that with an unlicensed car if
And-
you want.
okay, and that would be a conditional use permit
Conditional
needed
use.
for that? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but it
Okay.
doesn't have to be licensed.
I just, the reason for my asking is that there just wasn't sort of a loophole there.
No, there
Okay,
isn't.
all right, okay, cool. Yeah, good.
The change, yeah, that was one of the changes, but
Mhm.
I think the wording actually was, the word itself was changed. Can't remember what the other one was. Whatever we told Mike to write up. He did this, so it's legal to.
Yep. That was,
Oh, we added the 24 hours in the front yard parking for construction versus the 12.
So, we had a motion on that? No, good stuff.
so I got this straight, so after the second reading, okay, this is the second reading,
20
there's a
days.
motion, and it passes, and that becomes in
20 days after publication.
20 days after publication, okay?
Wouldn't happen until probably next week, Thursday, or whenever the courier comes out, with the 20 days to start then.
Yeah, so you actually end up, in a small town, you get 3 weeks.
Sure. Sure.
To take out a petition to stop it. I mean,
Right.
that's what it would take.
Okay. So we're looking for a motion to, is that
We would
where
need a
we're at?
motion.
Or should we let the public see it till next time? Let Jeremy publish it?
Has it been published yet? Has it?
It
No.
wasn't officially published, but in the Courier immediately following our last council meeting,
Mhm.
he had a whole feature
Mhm.
on
But
it.
they did not see this article though, as it's presented though.
No, it
No.
wasn't published.
Right.
We're not by law.
It's a published-
No, I understand that,
You
but they
don't
have,
to,
is what
no,
we're saying.
it has.
But he did have the complete content
Mhm.
of it for what he shared, in reference to
Okay.
what he shared.
So, because because it's obviously created, some controversy, pros and cons, either way. So I think, in my opinion, maybe that would be, because today we have nobody with input, public input regarding it, It was, on the agenda for second reading, but no one has seen the final draft of it. Is that my understanding through the Courier?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, the final draft was explained, but typically it's not published until after
Mhm.
it receives
The
approval from
the
the
vote,
second
okay,
reading.
so even if we do what Charlie is suggesting, it wouldn't get publicized, in
Yes,
the
it
Courier
would.
regardless, right?
It would this time.
It would,
It's
And then-
part of the minutes this time.
okay,
It would be published.
okay.
And then there would be 20 days to,
You know, it'd be 20 days after our next meeting, which,
Right.
what, July
20th.
20th, yeah.
20th?
I guess we.
So I mean, I don't have no heartburn either way, I guess, because I don't see where, I mean, it's a compromise.
Mhm. Yeah, I think
So I
you
don't
did a
know
good
what else
job
we
with
can
it.
do to make it better or worse for anybody. I mean, we gotta do something.
Yes, I totally agree with that. So we're either accepting it or putting it off for to the next meeting.
Right.
Well,
I mean, it's, if the people wanna look at it, I don't have a problem with it either.
Yeah, I think it's well written. I think you did a good job there.
And it is posted online, it's been
Mhm.
posted there.
this is the third meeting that we've talked about it.
Mhm.
So, if there's not a motion,
Well, I don't know, I mean,
Well, fine, I'll make a motion to table it till next time.
is there a second to that?
I'll second that. And it'll get in the Courier now, then, and we'll, the next
I
meeting.
hope so.
Yeah, the next meeting we'll be deciding.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden.
no.
Okay, repeal of ordinance 6.0609, that's the fence ordinance, it's a second reading,
And that just takes it out to clarify it.
it's just to clean up the
Take, yeah,
books.
takes it out of the city
And
ordinances
then
and
puts
leaves
it in
it.
planning zone.
Puts it into the zone.
Motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
By Terry. Call roll.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Why don't you guys look at the BY Water agreement? let's talk about that. I don't know if I'm doing this in the right order. If you gentlemen had time to look it over, basically it is allowing us to serve West Side Development as it when
Right,
it's
yeah,
annexed.
I read it, so I don't have,
Excuse me?
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, we gotta
We're
have
gonna
it.
need a resolution so I can sign the contract. If you know, it's a contract with BY.
There is one stipulation, point number 1, where it says the city will annex real properties. Fink says the property that we ran into on east side of Highway 81 is not annexed, where the line ran into. So he says as we go through the annexation of our west side properties, we should include that east side of 81.
The industrial property?
That's what he says. That's what his wording was on the, he kept referring to the east side of 81, and I.
No, the industrial's in, and so is Canodal. What's not in is the church and Mendel's lot. That is
Okay.
not in. the
So where this new line goes in, where it went under 81,
That's
in.
That's in.
the end.
Okay, well, I kind of thought that too, but.
And where it goes, it also crosses to Vermeer, that's in.
It's
Two
just-
lots that are not in, it does run down,
But it's not serving them.
it's not serving anybody.
Okay.
And those lots aren't, yeah, they're not serving, they're not in, I mean,
Okay.
they don't have sewer either, so.
So if you annex them in, then they're entitled to city sewer.
Right? I mean, it's okay, we got
Good
the,
lines there.
we got everything there.
Okay. So are they, so essentially they're not in city limits is what we're saying, them two.
Right.
But here they are and here they are.
Well, the church, I'm sure, has BY water already, so we couldn't hook them up anyway. You know, there's people in
Right.
town already
Right,
that have
right.
BY. I mean, we could hook them up if they wanna pay 2 bills.
Right,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
BY's not giving their bill up.
Yeah.
Now, Jonathan's lot, that's a different story, nothing's built on that. So that'd be the same situation as the west side.
I don't think Corn's in either, is he?
Yes. No, he is not. Corn is not.
The mill.
Yeah, the mill's not.
That would clean it up if you, but
Do we service, but we don't service them again. That's a-
We don't
that's
serve,
a
we don't,
BY
no,
line.
the only, you're in city limits, you get served. If you're not in city, trash. If we go a mile out of town
right.
with water, sewer, if you're not, you don't get it unless you're in city limits.
Right.
I mean, Papa's waited forever to come into city limits until they had a sewer problem, then they finally had to, so.
Mhm.
But I make the resolution to authorize the mayor to
Mhm.
sign.
I'll second that.
Call roll.
Gary. Jacobson.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Jaden.
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Waltner.
Yes.
Are we close enough now? We have Paul Korn here, representing Sarah. Haven't seen you for a bit.
Yeah, it's been a few months, maybe. I was trying to think back when the last time was, so I think it might have been, I know we did an estimate in May, I think, so I don't know, May might have been the last time, so. I'm not sure what images we're gonna need here, but there's one on there with, we did make some aerial photos with a plan on it, so it might be a good idea to look at.
Okay.
Got some exhibits as well for them.
Let's see, oh, the one, Main Street with aerial?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, full screen.
Well, like, just a little bit update, I guess, of what we've been doing since the last time we were before you. We have been moving forward with the design, and sometimes that's kind of a little bit more detailed work, and it takes a little bit until we actually have a product to show you. But we did come out just so we can provide better images of the project and just relative to, buildings and things like that. We did come out with a drone and fly Main Street, and we were able to then incorporate our design over that drone image. So I think this kind of be helpful going forward, and just to create some better images and maybe help the public see a little bit better of what's proposed for the Main Street project. So, and we'll work on refining that and making that a little bit more easier to read, label the businesses better and things like that, but that's kind of our initial layout for the plans. Oh, it looks like all those are the rotated. Sorry about that, Charlie.
That's all right.
Should have had those rotated. So, but I guess since our last meeting, we did have a sit-down meeting with Cody and Dwayne just to kind of discuss the utility plans in a little bit more detail. And so from that meeting, we have been working on updating some of the utility design, and just a brief overview of that. We basically added additional water valves at all the intersections. So wherever there's a water main leg at an intersection, we're adding valves to improve the shutdown capability at the intersections. The water stub outs from Main Street to the side streets, we were planning just to match the existing water main sizes, but Dwayne made the recommendation to upsize those to 6-inch, at least beyond the pavement, and then tie in, and that'll provide for good connection and expansion in the future. So that was a good idea that we've incorporated. We also took a closer look at extending some storm sewer a little bit further down to Plum Street, so we might be able to make that storm sewer deep enough where we could then address a drainage issue at the northwest corner of the AMPI lot. So we're not planning to extend the storm sewer all the way to the AMPI corner at this time, but we are trying to put the storm sewer low enough so we could address that issue in the future. So that's going to be incorporated into the plans. And then water service sizes will all be 1-inch poly lines. Laundromat will have a 2-inch water line, and then all the sanitary sewer services will be 6-inch lines, and then we'll be reducing down to the 4-inch lines. So I think that was kind of an overview of what we discussed. And then another thing that came up in that, and you see it really good on this image here, is from Well Street basically to Henry Street, I believe it is. That's an area where we have on-street parking right now. There's some residences that live along that area. And with on-street parking, at the proposed width that we were at with Main Street of 32 feet plus the curb and gutter, that is going to kind of restrict traffic flow, at least where we have that on-street parking. So the thought was to widen that a little bit there. So we did widen it another 2 feet in each direction for just that one block. So those cars are a little bit closer to the side of the road, and we're maintaining at least a 12-foot drive lane in each direction. So you can kind of see how we're making that transition at the intersection there. So that was one of the things one of the concerns that that Dwayne and Cody raised, and I would certainly agree with that. I think for on-street parking, 32 feet is tight, and 36 feet would provide a lot more comfortable width there. So that's been updated in the plan. Some other comments that we received were just making sure that all the pavement is salvaged to the city's rubble site, so that way you guys have the ability to crush that and use it on future projects. So that will be included in the plans as well. Could you, Charlie, could you bring up the typical street section as well? Or the recommendations, yes. Geotechnical recommendations would be a good one.
Geotech is on that one.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yep. So the next thing we'd like to finalize basically is the pavement sections for Main Street. And so this was the geotechnical report that was performed by Geotech as part of our services. And I think that report has been previously shared with the city council on but we haven't really discussed it in much detail. But basically for the pavement recommendations, they're proposing 3 options. And option 1 basically is, remove all the pavement, grade everything to the elevations we needed to, put 8 inches of gravel down and 8 inches of concrete. He says you're probably going to run into some areas where there's some marginal strength in the soils, you're going to have to do some over excavation, add some geotextile fabric, so you're going to kind of have to spot dress that. We don't know where those areas are at this point or how much we're going to run into, but that would be option 1. Option 2 would be just to extend geotechnical fabric over the entire subgrade, just so everything is uniform. Engineers and geotechnical engineers especially like uniformity under pavements. And then option 3 would be to eliminate the geotextile fabric and reduce the gravel from 8 inches to 4 inch, but then do a cement treated subgrade. And so basically once the dirt is shaped to its final elevation, they come in and they mix cement into the dirt, incorporate water into it for a depth of 12 inches, and it provides a very hard, very durable subgrade to build your pavement on. And I guess that's the direction that we would recommend going as far as for a street pavement section. It's being done quite a bit in Sioux Falls, and we're seeing it being used very successfully. We're involved with an industrial park on the north side of town. We've done it all through the industrial park. The roads look great, heavy truck traffic. The city road right next to the industrial park, they use geotextile fabric, and it's starting to show some wear and tear. So it's got a good track record.
So that would be the best of the 3 options?
That would be the best of the 3 options, yep. So in my opinion, it's between option 2 and option 3, basically. So when we compared, we did a little bit of cost comparison between option 2 and option 3, and by reducing the amount of excavation, by eliminating the geotextile fabric, we're reducing the amount of gravel we need to bring in. It was about a savings of about $100,000 to go to option 3. So I guess I feel it's kind of a no-brainer. So.
I know option 2 works.
Yep, option 2 works, yep, so.
I'm unfamiliar with option 3, so.
Yeah, and like I said, just the experience, what we're seeing visually out in that industrial area north of Sioux Falls, where you have the fabric under one section and the cement stabilization under another, it's a noticeable difference, so. And plus it's lower cost as well, so.
When you say noticeably different, it's heaving or breaking up?
You're starting to see the pavement starting to get some deflection and cracking and things like that, where it's not cement stabilized, where it is cement stabilized, you don't see any of that. Yeah, yeah. And so, my hope is that, with that good of a subgrade section, that you won't see random cracking problems that you sometimes see with concrete. In addition to that, we've had some coordination with our street lighting consultant. His name is Harlan Osterloo. He's a native of Emory, by the way, and he works for West Plains Engineering. And so he's moving forward with the street lighting design, with the idea that we're going to use the historic light fixtures in the business portion of Main Street. I think what the feedback we're getting is the dual acorn style historic lights are kind of a direction that the council may consider going. And then there would be the conventional street lights for basically railway going north out to North County Road. So he's working on that, and he should have a pretty good design in place by the end of July. So I know there's been some conversations about electrical receptacles on the street poles, and he does plan to put electrical receptacle at the top of the street lights for Christmas lights, things like that. His question was, would they want those lights would they want that receptacle light live all the time, or would we want the receptacle to go on and off with the street lights? So that was just one of the questions he raised. Then the other question, I'm not sure how your current street lighting is fed, or if it's metered, or if it's on a rental basis per pole, but obviously this would all be wired together, and we'd have to identify a meter location. So I'm not sure if your current street lights are metered now or not.
I think
So-
we're just paying a per pole price.
A rental price?
Rental price.
Yeah, so this would be then a metered situation, so, you know, he'd like to put a meter somewhere in the center of the project. We were thinking maybe at the corner of Railway and Main on, you know, at the elevator corner there. There's kind of a green area there. We can find some room to put a meter in at that location. So those are things that, you know, he'll be looking to firm up as he moves forward with his design.
And they're all LED, I'm assuming.
Yep, everything is all LED lighting, so.
There was some talk about the banner supports that you suggested that
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
come up with our own because these were not the best or something.
Yeah, you know, and so the street lights, you know, especially the historic lights in the business district, you can get those fabricated to where they have supports for banners, or you can hang hanging pots from them and things like that. What I've observed where that has been done is those permanent support arms have a tendency to bend over time and get bent out of shape. And so it seems like a common method now is to just buy those brackets separate, where you could put some bracket arms, mount them onto the lights, and you can hang banners, you can hang lights, and I think that would be a much better solution, and you can replace those out as they warrant repair and things like that,
So that'd be done after the fact then.
That'd be done after the fact, or, yep, correct, yep.
Cool.
Charlie, if you want to maybe just go back to the aerial.
I didn't do this one, I don't think. This would be Main Street itself. I think the first one was,
Oh, yeah.
no, this must be the corner.
Oh, that's without the surfacing in there, so,
Oops, I don't want that, no. Bear with me. Which one would you want?
Main Street with aerial, the that one there, yep.
That was the first one we had.
Yep, and then scroll through some of the pages, because as we scrolled
Oh.
into the business district, then.
Come on, go with me. By the lumberyard.
Yeah,
The computer's running really slow today.
well, this is a big file, so it was pretty slow when I was working with
Loading
it
it.
as well, yeah.
Okay, so we're now from Railway or from the Creamery.
Yeah, so that would be a good one to look
Or-
at there. So I guess the last thing we've been doing is, you know, taking input from the Streetscapes Committee as far as, you know, the curb and gutter layout on Main Street. And so what you see here is the latest layout for curb and gutter, where you see, for lack of a better term, the bump outs at the intersection of 3rd Street and 4th Street. So there'd be no bump out at 5th Street and no bump out at Railway, but we are showing some mild bump outs at 3rd Street and 4th Street with some exposed aggregate concrete ribbon basically at backup curb, just to further delineate those bump outs and just to provide a little bit of visual enhancement on Main Street. So I would say that those bump outs still provide a very generous width from the, you know, they're gonna come down to a 0 elevation to where there's no curb at the street, and then all the way around the radius of the corner, so there would be a 0 height curb all the way around those bump outs. But just from the width of the bump outs at the narrowest part is equivalent to the width of 6th Street right now. So it's a pretty generous width. It's not very restrictive on the width, but it does provide a little bit of a bump out, a little bit of a, you know, visual enhancement on the corner where you could put, you know, a planter box with some plants in it, things like that. So I understand Emily's going to talk a little bit more about the streetscaping, so I won't get into it too much further.
So is that curb there?
That would be, right there would be about a 0 grade. That would be where we would start to taper up. So that would
And
be.
then from there, you're heading that way, would go up to curb.
Correct, yep. So that would be the 0 point to where we would start then to taper back
And
towards the
it's a nice
sidewalk.
gentle arch first, you
Yeah,
know, so it's not a sharp curve there.
And then at this point, you said is as wide as Sixth Street.
yep, at the narrowest point is as wide as Sixth Street.
Mhm.
Yep, right there.
When you say as wide as Sixth Street, are we talking from curb to curb? or-
Yep,
No, really?
yep.
Well, that's-
Yep, because that's one of the comments that was received was vehicles, you know, turning the radiuses and things like that, and it's too tight and too restrictive. Well, this is matching the width of Sixth Street, so.
Yeah.
So that's, the other thing is that we're, you know, taking quite a bit of time looking at, you know, the elevations of the pavement on Main Street. So I don't have any details to present to you tonight about that, but just looking at all the various finished floor elevations and trying to match curb and gutter and road elevations as best we can. So that's ongoing, in progress, and we'll have more detail on that at an upcoming meeting, so.
We'll put it back to Plum Street here. What do you want to do there? I'm not understanding what you're.
So, yeah, at Plum Street, with the storm sewer?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we have storm sewer extended to that low area right by the elevator, basically. And so there's some inlets, right, or not by the elevator, by the lumberyard, I'm sorry. So we have that storm sewer right by the lumberyard.
Yeah, and that all goes south.
Yep,
North.
that all goes north. So what we would like to do is from that low area, take a storm sewer a little bit further to the south, to the intersection of Plum Street, put a junction box in that intersection, and stub a pipe out to the west, to the end of the pavement. So if at some point the city wants to extend that storm sewer further to the west to address the issue at AMPI, you would have that.
Right, but that's higher than Plum Street going west. That goes downhill.
Yep, but we can put the storm sewer at a depth to where we can still get, take care of that low area at the northwest corner of AMPI, so.
Over here, show me.
Charlie, we had him design that so we could go west on Plum Street to the corner of Juniper Street and catch all the water that's coming down there instead of running all the way to the R&S and then try to go
Right.
through
Yeah.
culverts that
So-
aren't there.
Where
We
it's
would-
all washing out by
We would
the-
extend a
yeah,
storm
right.
sewer
Yeah,
from this
that's-
point here,
So it's
So you're
already
talking on
there
the
if we
west
want
side
to
of the
Right.
road?
west side of the road, yep, we would extend this pipe there. Yep, up to here, then we'd stub a pipe out here, so that way it could be picked up and serve. The storm sewer here would be low enough that it'd still be about 3 or 4 feet deep.
So this isn't gonna be connected to that?
No, yeah, this is connected to this, that goes to the south, but then there'd also be a pipe here that goes to the north and then stubbed out to the west. And that, the elevations, we've confirmed that when our surveyors were out here, that storm sewer would be deep enough, so that way we could extend a pipe to that intersection and it would still be about 3.5 to 4 foot deep while it got to that intersection,
So essentially, it's all hooked together, just the one is alleviating the
Yeah.
issue over here to
Yep,
push it to the west.
yeah.
Okay.
That's one of
Isn't
the,
anywhere on the west to go
Well, not now, but I mean, I think that would be a future
though. Yeah, but you have
plan.
to have somewhere for it to go. Where's it gonna go?
you know?
it would connect into the storm sewer system and then go north.
You're sucking the water out coming back to Maine, right?
Yep, yeah.
So it's not going west. I mean, the pipe is going west, but the water's going.
Water-
water
water-
east.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But this would be a
Thi-
dead pipe,
this
right?
is-
You're designing this would be a dead pipe for now.
It would be deep enough that you could extend it to the west, but it would still be on a slope that would come back towards Main Street and then go north.
Right, but this here part
Oh.
that we would build before we added on, this would you would have no inlet, right? This would be empty? This would just be a
That's what
dead
we're
pipe?
planning right now.
Dead
Yep.
pipe waiting for us in the
Yep.
future?
Yep. We could put an inlet there if we needed to, or if it warranted an inlet.
Make sure it's heavy, because that loaded truck's coming around that corner.
Yeah.
You can see the tracks in the, in the picture.
That makes sense that it comes back. Yeah.
Any other questions, I guess, regarding project or?
If Paul's not, you know, we put a committee together, Emily, Hofer, Blaine Sari, they actually went up to Sarah's, I think, and talked about a few of these things. If you'd like to speak, please.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, so, thank you, Michael, for asking me to be on the committee. Doug and Blaine were also part of that, and Carol, and Jeremy Waltner and I as Main Street businesses. And we also had input from Courtney Unruh and Shirley Knodel from the healthcare safety perspective. Evan Waltner was also on as a community member. And Michelle Newharth recently joined us. She's part of getting some continuing education credits and things for her schooling. So thank you for inviting us to give some input. It was with very thoughtful consideration that this committee met several times over the last few months. We listened to the public comment fiasco meeting that happened a few months ago. We visited Rochester, Vermillion, Larchwood, Yankton, Sioux Falls, Canastota, all towns that have some sort of streetscaping. So we were trying to be thoughtful to see what was out there. When I started on the committee, I was a vocal person against streetscaping because I didn't want to maintain a bunch of stuff in front of my business. And I think the committee members picked up on that fast. But as the compromises were made and we looked at the pictures from the other towns, Blaine and I had an opportunity to go and meet with Paul in Sioux Falls, and we have the design that's in front of you, and I believe you have the image.
One do you want?
Charlie has the images.
That's Main Street right now. You want the next one?
Just scroll down, scroll down.
Scroll down on this, okay.
Yep. That is, you know, a rendering of sort of our vision that the committee came up with. And the, we're not calling them bump outs, Paul, we're calling them curb extensions. Because we don't want to conjure up bad memories of the hay bale fiascos. So we are recommending these curb extensions. Safety, it slows traffic. It shortens the pedestrian walkway. It has zero grade, as it's pictured, for the mobility, people who have mobility issues. And in the spirit of compromise, the original drawings that you saw, you never should have seen. There was a lot of sharp edges, and there were a lot of, probably snow removal hindrances in those drawings. And so the compromise that we have come to, and this was with talking to city workers in some of these communities, and looking at pictures, are these more gradual turns, easier to, move snow for the city workers and things. So we would strongly recommend these curb extensions. What's not really depicted here, or even in some of the other pictures, is something that Blaine and I stumbled upon with Paul when we were having our discussion, that adds another safety feature is valley drainage. So instead of the water running at the curb, it's just the streetscaping of the street. Imagine you're parked at the curb, the water draining would run away at where basically your rear tires are. This creates another safety feature. So as ice and snow is melting, the water's moving away from the curb. It's not refreezing, it's not making another slip and fall hazard at the curb area. So that was another design aspect that we asked them to include. What we've talked about so far really doesn't add much to the cost of your project. The concrete is the concrete, you have to have sidewalks, etc. The other part of the design that you see is what Paul referred to as the ribbon of the aggregate. And I have some pictures here of another community, so you can kind of see what we're thinking. It wouldn't be,
Is that on the second one?
Just now.
it wouldn't be as much as what you're seeing here.
Just
Is that what this is then?
received 15 minutes ago.
It would
Yeah.
simply
Yeah.
ribbon, it would simply ribbon the
Indicating
streets
where we'd like to
and
try to
the
put a valley.
extensions.
So,
Sorry.
You're good, Emily.
Yeah, so that, the picture that you have in front of you, I don't even know what community that's from, but that's an example of what the ribbon aggregate would look like, sort of in real life. There's a couple aspects to this that I think are to note. It is a safety issue. It is a visual cue to pedestrians that there's the curb is there. So, it's a safety issue. The other,
That's not it.
Yeah, it is. Scroll down. Scroll down.
Let me get to
Sorry.
the,
Finding it?
let me get to the attachment.
okay, you all have it in front of you though. So it's a visual cue to pedestrians, it's a safety feature that can be added. And I will say this, our committee members talk to a lot of business owners, we talk to, on Main Street, we talk to a lot of people in the community, and what I heard from a lot of people was,
That's it?
That's it.
yes, that's what I just
Okay.
handed to you, yeah. Was, if we're gonna spend $3.2 million on a new Main Street, why would we make it look exactly the way it looks right now? So, part of our committee's decisioning and making these recommendations was that we wanted to add curb appeal, if you will, a little aesthetic to our business district in Main Street, to freshen it up. And we kicked around a lot of things. We kicked around stamped concrete, we kicked this around, we talked about benches and flower beds and trees, and you saw pictures of some of those things that we thought added visual hindrances to the actual area. This is just a very low maintenance, but very visually pleasing aesthetic that would add to the face of our Main Street. It ties the entire business district from end to end together with this continuous ribbon that runs along the sidewalks. It would be more easily patched than, say, stamped concrete or something else if sections needed to be redone. And this is really the first place where we're asking to spend a little more money, and the difference in cost between just having that be concrete or adding this ribbon is $27,000. Very minimal in the cost of the project as a whole. And it's adding a safety feature, and it's adding some aesthetics. I think there's a really good argument that adding some aesthetics to the project, to Main Street, shows a commitment by the city to making Main Street look better. It may not spurn some economic development. Maybe some of the empty spaces on Main Street will be filled. But it's a commitment from the city saying that, yes, we are doing this to not only increase the safety, but the look and feel of our Main Street. We avoided vegetation, trees, all those things that can catch garbage and corn stalks as they're blowing down the street, things that don't need to be maintained on a daily, weekly, monthly, seasonal, whatever basis. This was a nice compromise that our committee came up with. And the design that we have, I believe, is forward-looking for the future. We're not gonna have another opportunity, probably in any of our lifetimes of the people in this room, that we're gonna redo Main Street. And so to make it visually pleasing and safer, this is what our committee is recommending. There's an opportunity here. I mean, could we put some movable planter boxes? Could we put some benches? Could we put some artwork? There's opportunity. We've created a slate for something that could be done in the future, that if we don't do these now, we wouldn't have that opportunity in the future to do it. And so, it's my recommendation, the committee's recommendation, that as it's presented to you today, that this is how you would approve it.
And I should just add that on this picture that she handed out here, that is in Rochester, so salts, everything like that. Am I right there, Paul, that it does withstand
Yeah.
abuse,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's been used in this type of application before, and it's still there, so. I
Yeah.
saw some of it in Rapid City a month ago when I was out there, so.
Do you have any pictures of the modified profile with the actual drain being in further? Yeah,
A little bit,
You
I
can
guess.
you can kind of see
So,
that.
Oh,
yeah,
which one?
go to the typical section, the first one there, Charlie.
This one?
Oh,
This one?
no, the first one in the first file, I don't think you've opened it
Oh,
yet.
in real life.
Oh,
Real life, do you
Oh, I'm
have an
sorry.
example to show us?
that one?
Is there an example?
Sorry.
Of the drain in the,
Pictures are a million words here.
Are you looking at this?
I know
is this
what you're
dimension,
asking
Paul?
for.
yeah, so if you zoom into that left side there,
Left side?
yep. So there you see, basically, so you have the storefront or the property line, which is indicated by the PL. Then you have the sidewalk, which is back of curb, 9.5 feet. Then we have the curb and gutter, and then we have pavement that slopes out about 14 foot of width, and then it's about another than 14 foot to the center line of the street. So there's a little bit of a valley in there, where then the water would drain towards that valley and then drain, from, I guess, 4th Street, it divides, it goes north and south, but then it would be picked up in some area drains located in that valley. So, we could sure provide some photos of that.
I don't have
There's-
anything in our samples that we looked at. I don't have
There's
any.
quite a few
Sorry.
examples of this in downtown Sioux Falls. That's
Yeah.
been done in a lot of area. Phillips Avenue is almost all this way, so.
Well, it makes sense to put the water further back. I get that.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a challenge grading,
Snow.
just making sure all the elevations work, and yeah, and then snow removal as well, but, now you don't have that drainage and ice buildup at the curb line that
Where
people are
you're stepping
stepping
in.
over, so.
The aggregate, how does that shovel snow with the shovel by hand? Because I
Yeah,
know what
I mean,
it's gonna be
it's-
like.
Yeah, I mean, it's, aggregate, stamped concrete, all that stuff, it's gonna be a little bit more of a challenge with that, but yeah.
Stamped concrete wouldn't be as bad as aggregate, because
Yeah.
the aggregate is just little rocks that are catching your shovel.
Yeah. But usually, like with the stamped concrete, sometimes there's texture to it, so there is a little bit of roughness with the stamped concrete as well, so it would
And
probably be
that
pretty
needs to be
comparable.
re-colored and resealed much more frequently.
It fades.
Yeah. Your red stamped concrete turns pink in a few years, it has to be sandblasted and recolored and then resealed, yeah.
The committee did a lot of consideration to the compromises being made. I think Emily explained it extremely well, thank you. We definitely took the city workers with snow removal into consideration to make the curvature very gradual, so the snow plow should be able to grab it good. The store owners, we try to be compromised with them to, as far as planters and trees, and, so we just did away with that. And just try to enhance it, so like Emily mentioned, that, we spend this money that we actually can tell that we did something, and that these sidewalk enhancements, along with the lighting, just projected to look very, very nice and be very functional.
At a relatively inexpensive price point to the project, yes.
Yeah.
We were very mindful of the suggestions that we made and, and looked at the different options that were there, trying to make a continuous, cohesive look to the business district part of Main Street that would just elevate it a little bit from where it is today and maybe from some other small towns.
And keeping in mind that at the narrowest point, that it's actually as wide as 6th Street is from curb to curb, that's, it's hard to conceive that, I guess, when you're driving down Main Street or looking at it, it does look like it's narrower, but it's not, right? think it'd be a good move personally.
Well, I just want to add that kudos need to go to Emily, Blaine, Evan, and whomever else we put it with committee after we had the public meeting over at the other place. And they put a lot of time. I know Emily and Blaine made a trip to Sioux Falls. Like Emily said, we've met and so forth. And after the public meeting, there were three things when we formed the committee and we met for the first time, and one was expense. We were looking at $100,000. One was sustainability as far as trees, plants, who's gonna take care. I think that was the second thing. And the third was snow removal. And to make it smooth out those square corners and so forth. And I think they've done a very commendable job as far as finding answers for all of that. This sustainability thing, that's I guess that's where, I think that's the one that hung Emily up. She was a no vote for a long time. So I really need to commend them on, they put a lot of effort in.
Yeah, and Evan just pointed out that there are two intersections that these curb extensions are being proposed for, and that is Main at 3rd and Main at 4th. So those would be the 8 corners essentially that these curb extensions are being suggested for, recommended for. And the ribbon would run basically from Mr. G's corner down to Railway, yes, yep. And the sidewalks are 9.5-foot sidewalks, 6 foot from storefront to ribbon, and then 3.5 feet of the aggregate ribbon. So that's, like I said, that's the plan. I don't know if that's not as easy to see on here, but that's what the recommendation is, so.
Where it changes from the sidewalk and goes back, right, and then you have road that comes in. As far as snow cleaning and so forth, that's gonna create an issue with the plows. Would that be wrong in saying that?
Where, or what?
Because now you have a valley back at the street instead of up at the sidewalk, correct? So you're essentially putting this in there. How does that, with wear and tear of a snow plow that's wider than that portion, it's gonna fill snow into that valley and then stay packed in there, because then it's a smooth across? Am I making sense of what I'm saying?
You're talking right in here,
From the 14.
in this point here to here, across the span.
Yeah, and so you have your valley in the back where you're proposing the water to run at the back end of the vehicles, right? So if you run a plow down there, it's gonna span across that portion, that valley point, correct? So now you're gonna have a corner gouging into the main street on that side and sitting on this side. And that's what I'm asking, is that what's gonna happen? Is that gonna cause a bunch of wear and tear on that street from that corner of the plow gouging into it, going that way? And then plus it's gonna pack the snow into that valley, which will ice up and stay there as it's driven on and packed in. Is that something that, you said Rochester has this, is this an issue that, I'm guessing their streets are way wider than what we're dealing with.
They are, yeah, they are, and I'm not.
But
I
that's
can't say
my
that they have that
question,
type of-
is how much wear and tear is gonna be on that?
So
from plow
the blade is
aspect?
straight, and the curb, the
we
valley
had-
height is the same. The valley height, the top of the valley is the same height on both sides.
Yep.
So it shouldn't be gouging into the road. Yes, there could be a valley of snow there, but
So
not in an
like
area
that.
where people would be walking.
See what I'm saying here? It looked like that, right? This is your sidewalk here where it's got, and that's probably exaggerated on your elevation.
Sure.
So your plow
It's very-
thing is,
Let me climb up to the curb, that's a good
okay,
idea.
there you go. A little bit better. But you see what I'm saying now? You got your little bit of a crown over here because you want water to come off the middle of the main street down into this valley, right? And from the sidewalk over to there.
That's an engineer question for you.
Your plow is gonna extend over into here, which is gonna be the corner of it catching that side of the street. Am I correct or wrong?
I guess it depends how wide
Wide
the plow
plow is,
blade
that's-
is, because that's a width of about 12 feet, which is about
Okay.
a width of lane of traffic, basically, so.
From the sidewalk to that valley.
From the sidewalk to that valley is 12
Okay.
feet. So I would assume that you could angle your blade to where you could get to
Get it
about a
to
12-foot width, and you'll be pretty close to that valley. But yeah, there might be, you're probably not gonna hit it exactly, because, you know, it's covered with snow.
Well,
But-
what I'm saying, you know, we do this in this asphalt,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, the next spring, we have a bunch of gouges
yeah.
from the corner of the blade going down Main Street. All of a sudden, now we have Main Street, it looks like,
I guess the way I see it is a plow making a 12-foot pass and clearing it out to the valley gutter, and then you're,
And then
then you're in,
pulling it back off.
yeah, and then you're in
Middle
the
and-
center of the road, and then you're pulling it.
Just like
you know.
we're doing now, essentially,
Yeah.
except he's, yeah.
But don't forget that now you have to move over and around
yeah.
Yeah.
these.
What, like, what, I feel this is a very subtle thing, right? I mean, what would the actual difference be?
I mean, you know, it's,
See it.
it's basically like an inverted road, basically. So, you know, a road has a crown of 2% in each direction from center line, so this would have basically inverted, basically 2% each way, which is pretty flat, basically. So we're not talking,
We're talking inch elevation difference?
you're talking, if there is some snow left there, it would be very minor, basically. So, because we're not, it's very subtle. I would say, like, when I've looked at it on Phillips Avenue, it's hardly noticeable, basically. But I'm looking for it to see, and so it's like, oh yeah, I can see that there's a little bit of a valley there. Otherwise, nobody
And that
would
would be
even
the least
notice
of my
it.
concern is the snowpack, and more so that the corner of the plow catching it, and now we have gouges going down. You know what I'm,
Yeah.
now we spent $3.5 million on Main Street, now we have a bunch of gouges going down each side of it.
My thing on yours, it fills up with snow, which it will, and fill the dip in, where's the water run? They run into the curb?
Well, I mean, it
You're
should
gonna-
run,
You're gonna drive over here and fill the valley. I'll put everything I own on that, I've run enough a plow that 14 foot on our plow, I'm gonna shave over the top of it, and that's
Oh, yeah.
gonna be straight.
yeah,
And all the vehicles driving down is gonna pack it down.
yeah.
It is, like they said, minor, but it will happen. To me, where's the water going when it starts to melt, to the curb or trying to follow
If
the?
it tries to follow the valley, it'll follow through
That
on the
gets to
valley.
the same level as the curb, is it gonna go down the curb?
It won't get to the same level as the curb, so there's enough elevation change there that it won't get to the same elevation as the curb, so.
Even if it did, that's what we have now.
Yeah, well, and that's just it, yeah, you know.
You have to jump over.
Right, yeah.
A
I mean,
lake to get to the curb. No.
you know, I think,
This is
you know,
taking that away.
yeah, no, it's been,
The icing is an issue
yeah, which,
either at the curb or in the valley. It's an issue, basically,
Yeah.
so.
Any other questions for Paul? Or Emily or Blaine? Committee members? Paul, what I wanna know is what do we need to do tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously for us to continue to move forward with our design as far as, you know, the geometrics, basically, the curb and gutter layout, pavement elevations, you know, we would, you know, like to get an answer as far as, you know, whether there's agreement in this approach or not. So, if that doesn't happen tonight, it probably delays our design a little bit on that front, and we do have time to still complete the work, but, so.
Okay. Carol, what do we need to do as far as grant?
We need to know if the city is committed to the project and willing to let you sign off on the grant application that Brian McGinnis from District 3 is preparing for us. It is expected to provide $600,000 for portions of the project, and it is due on July 15. So if we miss this, yeah, it's pretty big.
But this decision doesn't affect the project as a
We
whole.
can still make changes to
Right.
our project, and there is a document in your council packet describing what you're authorizing the mayor to sign. But again, those all the elements in there. We don't have to be necessarily committed
Right.
to those, but they can move forward, and then, of course, we'll find out, you know, we could find out that we do not get any grant money. We're not required to move forward with the project without the money. It allows us to apply.
So what we've done so far, correct me if I'm wrong, we've committed ourselves, the city council has committed ourselves to, we basically hired the engineering part, which we've completed now. And our next step is to say that we are committed to doing this project. And we need a resolution of the paperwork that's in front of you to say, yes, we want to do this. Exactly how we're going to do it, that is debatable, yes, yet, I guess. But that we are committed, so this can be, so we can get into the grant cycle. And that's what we're looking at, would be step 2.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2021-04.
Is that what's in front of me?
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Call roll.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring.
So I see you got the aggregate side.
If
already,
we-
right? I mean,
Just,
sheet.
if we don't
So
approve this,
basically, this
this
price
plan here,
is presented tonight.
we're back at square one from Main Street and
We've, Paul, help me here. I mean, we've committed to this plan. We have now committed to this plan that you have drawn up
So
and so forth, and we would
this-
now,
this wasn't aggregate.
and we're telling you, you can continue on.
Yep, okay, yep.
This
good.
would be 8.
We still always
The difference between.
have the right to reject all bids and
Okay.
stop everything.
Fine.
You have the right to reject all bids, you have the right to say, hey,
That's where, you know,
we want to change the
this
plans yet here
visual-
before this goes out, we want to make this a little tweak, things
aesthetic
like that. I
part of
mean,
this.
the plans are still under design, so there's certainly some design changes that can be made. We're not, I would anticipate that those design changes would not be significant in scope where it affects the grant funding, but certainly there's going to be modifications as we continue to go towards final design, so.
This is the time to make those modifications, not after it's bid.
right.
No, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I just want to reiterate that there is still opportunity to make those modifications regardless of what action is taken here tonight. So-
We basically, tonight with that resolution, just so we're all clear, we've made a resolution showing the DOT that we're committed to doing this project, to pay for this project and so forth, and it's an application for that grant.
Correct.
And then, once
the-
we find that out, we go from there, I mean,
And the design process is going to continue to go forward and be refined and developed as we proceed towards bid documents.
what is the DOT schedule as far as grants, when it's gonna be, do you know, when it goes in the hopper, it's February?
It is due the 15th.
Yeah, but-
When we find out, I'm not entirely sure. And then there's.
You remember,
other-
Lonnie? Was it February?
Or is it
I don't,
fall?
I think it's fall.
I think it's
for the
fall.
summer.
Was it late fall?
I think
Maybe it was
so.
fall.
Because then
Fall
we'll
ones
be
are
able
in
to
February.
bid out.
That doesn't
before
matter. It
spring.
is what it is, but,
Well, yeah, we gotta get in it.
I'm sorry?
We gotta get in it.
Right.
Yeah,
But
no,
15?
that's, we were a couple months late last go round, so. Let me ask you another question. As far as public meetings and so forth, you know, some of the downtown businesses are a little, you know, how is this gonna work and so forth. Just for information, at what point, Paul, would you see that we have a public forum, letting the downtown businesses know how their businesses could be affected and so forth? At what point do you see, or where do you see that? I'm not holding you to
Yeah.
a date or anything, but just to get a,
Well, just a little bit of what's been talked about with District 3 as far as the timing for bidding. You know, we want to bid the project when we think it's the most opportune time to get the best pricing. And I feel that a lot of times in the fall, contractors are coming off a busy construction season. They're not that hungry for work, so they're not aggressive going after projects. So once you get past the holiday season, then everybody starts getting a little bit nervous, say, I gotta line up some work for the year. So I feel the best time to bid a project is in January. And so I've had that conversation with Brian at District 3, and he was in total agreement with that approach. So if we were to have design plans ready in January, I guess I would say then this fall, probably, September or something like that, so we can still get some feedback and incorporate that into the plan. So that's probably what I would say for at a public meeting, or whether it's meeting individually with property owners as well. We've done that on projects as well, where you allot a half-hour time frame and you meet with them individually. So we could do it either way, so.
And a public hearing will be required too for other grant funding that will go after, and that's on a rolling timeline. So, and that can take place during a council meeting.
We would probably like to get our plans a little bit further developed and detailed out before we get to that point, so we're better able to answer some questions that may come up, so.
Well, the people rightfully,
Absolutely,
they're-
yep.
And I guess my response is, we're not far enough into this.
Yeah.
And so, but to give the people a general idea about what they can expect as far as,
I mean,
what could
given
be
that
happening.
we're looking at a potential bid in January, early fall would be a very good time to sit down and have those discussions.
Mr. Jaden brought up the side streets, and I know you looked into that.
Yes.
Going off on 3rd and 4th, and I think we all have, you got it there. Can that be done, I mean, I know the original project was in 2 phases, am I correct? Was
Yeah, the
kind
original.
of in 2 phases, it was all gonna be done, but.
The original project, yeah, we were looking at, just to distribute the cost a little bit, I think it was from North County Road to Railway would have been one phase approximately in there, and then from Railway through the business district would have been another phase. So that would have been done probably over 2 years, I think, if I remember right. So, now it's compressing everything into one season as far as Main Street, which I think is a good thing. Get the paint over with in one season, and I think you're gonna get better pricing as well, because you have more quantity, and it's a more the larger the project, the more appealing it is to bidders as well, so. But then how you wanna address the side streets, if you do wanna incorporate that in there, those could easily be added to the plans, basically.
Could it be added to, my question would be, could it be added to the plan, and since now we only have one phase right now, what we're talking about, as phase 2, and that could be bid out also to see where the pricing comes in. I mean, if we're pleasantly surprised, Lonnie, I don't mean to speak for you, but.
To do it all in one shot?
Well, I mean, get the bids in.
I think basically what you're saying, I think is.
You can advertise Main Street A, Main Street with side streets B, and they can bid both. We'd know the difference.
Yeah, so the way I would see doing it is basically you would advertise Main Street as the base bid, and then the side streets as an alternate.
Yeah.
And so then you have the option to accept the alternate, basically. You can either accept the alternate or decline the alternate, so.
That's kosher.
Yep,
That is something.
yep.
And is that what you had in mind, Lonnie? I mean, when you talk about it, I think it's
Yeah,
very.
Technically, I had in mind just doing it, but that's.
But is that a logical way to handle that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the preferred way, because you're informing the bidders that there's a potential that they might not accept this part of the project. So versus just rejecting that bid, you're basically informing bidders that there's a decision to be made whether we're gonna do this work or not. So, it's typically done by a bid alternate.
Okay.
Great.
Anything else? Yeah, for Mr. Corn here?
All right, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Emily. Michelle, Evan. around so much, yeah.
We were at parallel parking ordinance.
Yes,
First,
you talked about that, we've
Right.
talked about that.
basically, this ordinance, I don't know if you read it, it lets the council decide where there's gonna be perpendicular parking or parallel parking. So whatever the situation permits, we decide what's allowed. So
I would see it as drawing a map like we do the mailboxes.
Exactly, yeah. I don't foresee a lot of, other than Main Street, a lot of perpendicular in town. Do you?
Community center.
Senior citizens.
Right, I know, but not a lot.
No, not a lot.
No.
I don't see any residential area being perpendicular at all.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Not wide enough, yeah.
What about the hospital?
Well,
The only place we have is by
Pick
the
the
clinic,
area.
and I'd love to get rid of that in front of the clinic too. I wouldn't mind putting that back to parallel. That's the only place from the clinic, from the ER bay to the clinic to Dr. Epps, only place we have diagonal parking. Everything else is parallel parking.
yeah, but is there gonna be enough space? And
Yeah, right now there is, because we've switched around, so half or over half of the clients come in now in the front of the hospital.
Right,
And then it's just the acute that come in the backside, so it's
so you're hoping COVID's over before we build a new hospital?
No, but even during COVID last year, we really didn't fill up. I think we could have been fine with parallel parking. Because that street is so narrow and.
Well, it's first reading, we get to decide where it's gonna be.
We mark, that's why I said, it's gonna be like the, because that could change. So, this would be the first reading of that ordinance. Okay, geez. Doug, you wanna take that next one?
Yeah.
I didn't have
Is that
time
the
to
annexation
get in
one?
on all the
Yeah.
emails this afternoon.
Okay.
The annexation.
Okay, so, talking to Mr. Fink, the very first step that we need to do in annexation is to conduct a study to determine the need for annexing property. Okay?
How long did that take you?
Huh?
How long
How long did that study take? He says we actually have to have a committee and identify the specific well, in a motion, we need to identify the properties that we want to look at.
Right.
And then identify the need, so.
If they request it, is it that complicated?
I'm just going by what he tells me.
Because I don't think we've ever gone through
We've
any.
never
committee.
done that, it's
We just-
always been a request.
Yeah, come in, yeah. Unless it's something we are.
Unless we just typed it up or whatever.
I don't remember going through committees, just basically doing a motion and.
That's whatever he says, I guess.
Well,
We just want to go through, get it done. Typically, when you annex properties in, you'd have 10 property owners. And that is what, I thought there was, and I didn't have time to look today, this SDCL. Typically, there'd be 10 property owners, and you want to give all 10 property owners a chance to say yay or nay to this, okay? And that's the whole thing. This is one unit.
And they want to.
And they're the ones that request, that are
Exactly.
basically requesting it, so I don't see, I understand, and I disagree with Mike, and I'm not an attorney, but basically, the request has been made, and it's one property owner that through resolution, we can bring that property.
That's
in.
how we've done them in the past.
Yeah, I don't see a
'Cause
problem with
but
it.
it's always been one property, it's never been 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people want.
All BY's gonna wanna know is that we've annexed that property, and we made a resolution, and it's done. Yeah, if there'd be 10 people out there, that would be,
Then that's different. 'Cause
then you'd wanna do it differently. Because, but the people that have requested are the only people owning. And I think I'd just make a resolution to annex whatever property description that is. Is the railway in the city?
no, none of that, 100-foot wide strip from Cedar Street going west is in the city limits, so that needs to be brought in.
That would all be brought in.
That'll be, yeah, there'll be 2 parcels of ground there. And then, the Larson piece, that Development Corporation lot.
So this resolution would take care of all these?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm gonna go back and say this again, Mike had indicated that we still needed to do something on the east side of 81, but we'll drop that for now and find out what he really means there. 'Cause
I don't know.
If you don't know, I mean, I don't.
I don't know what I thought that's all.
You thought that's all in already?
Well, yeah, because we
So-
got services across the street already, so we have it annexed in.
Okay, well then maybe it's just looking at an old map and doesn't know that it's in. That's possible too. He said that might be the case, so,
I'm pretty sure we put that. wrong.
Yeah, no.
okay,
Yeah, we did,
then we can forget about it.
because we took water and sewer to Canova Shop.
Mhm.
Plus, we got it ready to go to the next lot too.
Yeah.
Or at least we bid for it.
It's stepped off.
So to expedite this, Doug, you would want to make a motion to annex in
The,
property descriptions to be named at a later date, whatever they are.
They're in here.
Are they in there?
It's-
Yeah.
the 100-foot wide railroad property,
The worst case scenario is you're gonna be annexing something that's already in the city. That corner piece, that northeast corner piece, they're having trouble figuring out. It's either already in, or we're annexing in, would be annexing it in twice, so what? So, that would be the resolution to annex that in.
yeah, so I can try to come up with, so it would be the 100-foot wide railroad bed from Cedar Street west to the quarter-mile line. So there's 2 pieces there. And then the Lee Larson property is outlot 41 and outlot 44 minus lots A and B.
Are A and B already in?
Yeah, I believe A and B are like the city one. I believe A and B is the city where the metal shed is. And then I think the Loris house.
They're already in.
They're already in. That's why they're minus A and B. So, along with the railroad property, do you want me to read the whole?
Why don't you just say you're gonna approve resolution 2021?
Just read, he reads the numbers. And then Michael has to go, what is that, Ronnie?
Because that first one on there is that, I believe that's the east of 81 property, but I guess if it's already in, then it's
Lot
already
D,
in.
section 36, 9956, and this is section 34, 9956. Yeah, that A is,
A is that piece of property out there, and that, I was,
Yeah.
so we don't really
don't
want
want
to.
that.
Don't want to do that, yeah.
So it's minus
Minus line item A.
line item A.
Okay, that's my motion.
I'm sure he's got that.
second,
Wait, right there.
second,
Follow.
All right, Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring, Jacobson.
Yes.
Excuse me.
And then there's a donation of real estate.
Yeah. We made the resolution, oh gosh. Last month, I gotta find my notes here, I guess. Yeah, on June 3rd, we made the resolution to donate that railroad property to the Development Corporation. Tonight, we need to make a resolution that would allow the mayor to sign the deed work over to the Development Corporation, so.
I make a motion.
Second then.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
The next business is gonna be the agreement that we have, the deal we make with the FCDC. You've got that in front of you. Is there anything that needs to be added or subtracted? We've tried to,
That was the piece that last meeting, I had it into Lee Fortin at State Auditors just to make sure that it looked all kosher. And he never raised any red flags on it, so as long as he didn't raise any red flags, it's kosher to their eyes.
it's got to do with how we're handling the money when lots are sold. I mean, I don't mean to be,
I make a
Sophomore.
motion that the mayor sign the agreement to enter, the agreement with FCDC on the development of that property.
Second.
call that.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring, Jacobson,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Chad Solik. We did not call public input. You've been sitting here so nice and patiently. Do you want something, or are you just here to?
Fire department.
Fire department, didn't think, sorry. Sorry.
Police department.
Let's hit you, let's talk about the fire
That's
department.
pretty simple. We're having our 8th rib cook-off, and we are asking a few things from the city. One being
Using the park.
using the park, again, very important. 2 being
Blocking off Parkway.
Parkway Street, you know, between,
Like you did last time.
Yeah.
yes, like we always have. And 3 being,
3 being, we want to monitor Whiff Street a little bit. We had selling ribs off of there, and we got our walk through there. We had a few people almost get hit last year because people weren't slowing down. Kind of get some stop signs in there and get Mr. Scott here to help us out a little bit.
What's the date?
August
14th.
14th.
because that was nuts last year with people parking over in the ball field and walking across, and then people driving up for this drive up. It's like, they didn't want anybody to come into the park, they just wanted to keep driving through. So that was a bugger last year.
In Freeman?
Can you imagine that? Stop like that.
Then one of the other ones, free swimming that day.
Yep.
Okay. Blaine, you making that a resolution as former fire chief?
Sure. Make a motion.
I don't mean to seven reading you, but.
No, I'd make a motion to accept the Freeman Fire Department,
The request.
I'll second that, honor their request.
Was the community center taken care of? Yeah. Okay. In case we got rained out.
And that wasn't brought in yet. You know how you're bringing it in.
That was brought in recently.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a great thing you guys are doing. That's.
It's working out great.
It is, yeah. That's very, very nice, you guys. Very good. A lot of work and,
Yeah, it is, but it's paying off.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very good.
it's been wonderful for the department. So
And
that
for
was
the
all-
community.
That was all we had. And the community, yeah.
All right, call roll.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring, Jacobson,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
I guess I got one other question.
Sure.
Is the pool closed when that time comes around?
No, it's still open yet.
Okay.
It's gonna be about in the last of its week though, that day.
All right, so
Well, and I shouldn't say that, who knows, we might not be able to, depending when school starts and if we've got ours.
Cody said I was pretty sure schools have to.
I know staff are supposed to be at ours, but they- on the last
We'll
weekend.
reopen.
What's that?
Beer license.
For our deal. Did that go through?
No.
We haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen it yet.
I thought Cody said, told me to do it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I thought I did. I thought Cody did.
Have you gotten anything, Lisa?
I'm sorry, what'd you
A
say?
couple
Beer license?
meetings ago.
Oh,
Fill that out.
he filled it out, so it needs to be published in the paper, and then it would be discussed at the July 20th meeting.
Okay. All right.
Do you have it for both locations in case you have,
He'd come out of here, that
Both
wasn't.
for both locations in case you have to go to the community center? Because that will be specific to the
Yep,
location?
it's on there as the alternate location.
Okay, as long as
Yes.
it's covered so that they're,
Lonnie's taught Cody pretty well with the beer license.
Not good enough because you're 5 days late. 30 days
5
prior.
days.
Oh, the 20, yeah. We'll blame that on Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting better. It used to be a week.
Okay. So my thing is do we need to hire the lifeguards then? That's taken care of? Okay,
we're just gonna not charge anybody.
okay,
It'll be just a regular pool day without anybody being charged.
okay. All right, cool. Because we really
And,
got.
and, you know,
And
I'm
they
sure we can
lined
find
up-
guards if we have
They
to.
lined them up already,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure. Mhm.
Yeah, Taylor's talked about it.
All right, we're good, Chad?
Yeah, super.
All right, Mr. Brewer.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you, Chad. Mr. Brewer, you're up. I think it's you that's gonna make the presentation, or is it Blaine? I don't know.
He's talking
Oh,
tasers. I'm a little nervous.
I didn't know.
So I am requesting some money from the city council for body worn cameras and tasers. And I'm gonna read my little thing that I wrote up, me and Carol wrote, helped me write up. City of Freeman Police Department requests for body worn cameras and tasers, 7 tasers. The Freeman Police Department is requesting approval from the Freeman City Council to purchase 2 body-worn cameras and 2 Taser 7 tasers. We as police officers strive to make our jobs and our community safe. Access to effective equipment is truly a necessity as we seek to keep our community safe. Changes in society have caused a great deal of concern for law enforcement. The conflicts taking place across the nation, we find it with the conflicts taking place across the nation. We find it a necessity for the purchase of up-to-date body cameras and tasers, so our efforts to effectively perform our duties are not hampered. Investing in new equipment will not only protect the officers, but the public and the city of Freeman as well from false accusations and monetary liability claims. Body-worn cameras are a great tool for capturing and providing unalterable audio and video footage of crimes and encounters. And courts also rely on footage from these cameras. In recent months, since I've been here, our police department has received multiple calls from the state's attorneys and private attorneys for cases, for body-worn footage for cases that Jay's had and I've had. With the old body cameras that I guess were purchased on Amazon, the footage is terrible. You can't see at night, you can barely hear anything. And with the older models, inclement weather is one of them. If it's too cold, it can get too hot, and they're not waterproof. They have very poor nighttime footage and poor audio. With these concerns, we are asking for new and updated body-worn cameras from a trusted vendor, which is Axon. And I'll get to that in a moment. We're also requesting new and updated tasers for the police department. The tasers is known to be an effective device for police officers and a great de-escalation tool for situations that police are put in. Police are able to use the taser rather than having to rely solely on their duty weapon. Axon, we've been informed that Axon, the vendor that supplies police departments across the United States with tasers, and the current X26E taser that Jay was wearing, which I had him take off. The reason for that is the X26E is obsolete. So it's not in the warranty. If it was used and it went wrong on an individual or Jay, not only is not it's not covered by Axon, but the city could be held liable for any monetary values that was used by that taser that's obsolete. So I told him to take it off. As for that, let's see, it's no longer under warranty. Axon has provided that if the X26 is utilized and an incident occurs to an individual or an officer, Axon will not be held accountable. This is a significant concern. If the current taser models are used and we are not covered under the Axon warranty, an individual could hold our local department and the city of Freeman liable. So with this said, I'm asking for the purchase of a Taser 7s to be carried by Freeman Law Enforcement Team attached, Blaine's got the attachment for the Taser 7.
What does the quote-unquote warranty?
So it is the tasers are covered under a 5-year warranty, which I think Blaine has that right there, right?
Camera is 2.5 year, here I can get it here. Here's the.
So with the taser set, with the old taser, it was 2 taser cartridges. You have to spark test it. If the display goes out, battery goes out, there's no way to even get parts for it. It's going to be too expensive. With the Taser 7, it comes with a cartridge battery docking station. Change it out every 30 days. So you'll have one in the chargers, well actually 2. Mine, Jay's, have 2 one at each taser. Every 30 days you change battery out. What that does is if Jay were to utilize that taser, or I were to utilize that taser, you put it in the docking station, automatically goes up to a website called evidence.com. With evidence.com you can actually look if the taser was discharged, if it was played with. In other words, messing around at home, the taser goes off. It's going to show that. In case of a taser deployment, it's not just going to be us, it's probably going to be Hutchinson County or Highway Patrol that's going to come and investigate it for use of force. And with the evidence.com, they can actually read that and understand and say, okay, he's cleared on that. In case somebody wants to try to sue the city for it, DCI can come in and say, hey, he did a good tase on it. We're not going to hold him accountable for it. For the body cameras is an AB3 camera. So this is Axon does the body cameras and the tasers. So I did 3 quotes. One through Axon, one through Digital Ally, and one through Coban. Coban is just the tasers. Just the body camera and the in-car videos is over $21,000. With the Digital Ally, it's 17.
Yep, 17.5, 20.
With just the body camera and the in-car video. Now, the problem with Digital Ally, from what I understand, is there's a department in Washington State that used it. Their body cameras kind of went down, and they're still waiting on them, and that was 4 months ago. Axon's a really good vendor. We've used them before. Their thing with their body cameras is once you pay for it, and let's say 2 months down the road, they get a new camera or a new body camera, they ship it to us for free. No charge at all. Even after the 5 years is up, after 5 years they'll return it because the battery life kind of eventually goes down. They'll replace it with new ones. So, at no charge. So the price tag on this one is $19,080.
That's with the tasers and the cameras?
And that's a bundle course between the tasers and the cameras. The tasers by itself for 2 is $5,000. I think it was $5,000, close to $6,000.
Yeah, I don't have that one. I have this here, but I don't have the breakdown on that one.
Well, are we still be reimbursed for police officers' pay under COVID money? You know?
Did that not end?
That ended.
By the end of?
Yeah, we had checked into a little bit of that, yeah. So with the financials, Scott brought me the budget, and they're at 38% of their budget for this year. Yeah, and which is they're under by $20,880. So that's as of the end of June. He's been talking. Scott's been talking to me about this for quite some time, and we take a lot for granted in this little town, but a lot of stuff goes on that we don't know about and we don't want to know about. With 81 main artery going down, there's a lot of things and problems that come from that.
Mm-hmm.
I think protecting our officers and the city of Freeman should be one of our highest priority.
And I think the body cameras are essential.
Yeah, and the tasers, just instead of pulling a gun, I mean, have a taser, I mean, yeah, that's a no-brainer in my.
And with the new Taser 7s, it's different from the old one. So the old ones is it's a single shot, you take the cartridge out, have to put it back in. With the Taser 7, it's got four compartments.
Yeah, I saw
So
that, you know.
you two come in.
Four-barrel shotgun.
It's like a
Pretty much. So
Nerf gun.
Terry comes at me, I tase him. Well, you get upset and start running at me. Well, I can turn it and shoot the other cartridges off with the same taser. Now, poor Terry's going to take a 10-second ride instead of a 5-second ride. So, the good thing with the Taser 7 is the old one you couldn't spark test it in a situation. Where the Taser 7 is, if I pull the Taser 7 out and he wants to be belligerent or whatever, all I got to do is to press two buttons on the side. It spark tests itself, and it usually de-escalates the situation right there. And I don't have to shoot any cartridges or anything like that. One has to take a 5-second ride.
Okay, question. Have you personally used this equipment?
The Taser 7 and the body camera, yes. Yep.
And he said that if we go with it, that they will demonstrate on it too.
Oh no, I've already taken the ride once. It's not fun.
I'm sure. Now, they do have a monthly plan?
So, yeah, so it's a yearly plan. So the first year, they break it down to $3,816, and that's every year for 5 years. So I talked to Kyle with Axon, and what he said is, once you pay the first payment, the stuff's yours. And then after 5 years, like I said, with the body cameras, the battery wears down, you send it in, they send you a new one. Or if they go from, you get a new body camera, they send it to you for free. So there's no additional cost for that.
So,
I guess I'm all for it, but I'd sure like to see it all on paper.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have it here.
Yeah,
So here's, I'll pass this around.
You know, yep, that's the one I was.
Yep.
That's one I gave you, I guess, okay, yeah. And now, just to be clear, the equipment is that price, and then on top of that, you add this monthly fee for the plans? You know?
I think, no, this is all in that.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
okay. All right, so you just purchase it
Right.
and you're done?
Yep.
Okay.
They have a cloud storage for the cameras that comes with it.
It does. So I can actually take the Axon, so I can Bluetooth it or link it to my phone. You can link it to with the Axon, actually, it comes with a docking station. It's probably not going to be as big as the one we used to have, but, so.
And then it'll download it from there.
Correct. So you'll run through its Wi-Fi through the building, downloads to a computer system, and then you can watch the videos.
And you have
So
a 64-gig card in it, it looks like.
Yeah.
In the cameras.
Yeah.
You know, and I was kind of going through the budget here too, and there really isn't, for the police department, is not an equipment line.
$2,000,
Yeah, there was a small line in there.
second page. It ain't much. But it doesn't matter, we can supplement it at the end of the year.
Okay,
We have in the
that's,
past.
that's what I was, yeah. Machinery and equipment, okay, there you go. Machinery. Yeah,
That'll work.
all right, so yeah, so obviously we need to add a 0 to that for this one, you know. Well, I guess I would like to see him proceed on it.
I make a motion to purchase the Axon cameras and tasers from Axon for the sum of $19,080.
Second that.
Any further discussion? Call roll.
Garing,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Waltner.
Yes.
Nice presentation.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Golf course, walk-in cooler. The condenser and evaporator died. They need to spend, they got a quote for $7,850.
I know where we could unplug one.
I was there, I did ask, I mean, do we need a walk-in cooler? And yes, the answer was yes, unequivocally. It's golf course, I mean, it comes out of, but,
That's replace the one they have?
it's just the,
Don't need to replace the box.
The box
not
is
the
okay.
box, it's just the condenser and the
Condenser unit will be
evaporator. It
installed
will be
outside.
placed, it will be placed now outside. For some reason, it was placed inside. And Ken's Electric and Refrigeration, who they got the quote from, said that it would be much better outside. So, I don't know that I need, if I need a motion or whatever, but they want, I mean, it needs to be, there are questions.
Have you compared it with any
Another
quote?
I don't know.
What did we pay for that one?
About that.
For a brand new one?
I don't know what size that one was.
Yeah, how big is this one?
I don't know.
How long ago was it?
3 years? 19?
19, yeah, because the first winter.
His taser set it off.
So it's completely out, like, it does not work at all, or? I mean, it's done.
So they felt, they looked at a new one, and they said there's no reason to buy new. Everything, it's just this needs to,
This was the more feasible way to go.
Well, yeah.
this would be the way to go, yeah.
By the time you rip that out and put the new one in, and
Didn't want to take any more of their budget money away than they had to. But this would be totally suitable, so,
well, for refrigeration, you need it.
well.
How much to do?
There's,
I'd feel
Yeah.
better about it if we had 2 quotes, though.
Call Ackerman?
I don't know.
I know Ackerman did all the ones at the store. at
No, he
Shop
does
Center. They did all those
hospital.
boxes. Yeah.
Could give him
I
a
don't
call and
remember-
get a quote from him.
I don't remember at all what they cost, though.
So,
It adds up, I know.
yeah, so if that's the case, and whoever is, if this one's still the less,
Where's Ackerman out of?
Fiber.
Fiber. He's related to.
I'm just wondering, can it be,
Flatties.
if he gets another quote, and this one is the lower one, and they're needing to get something done, can it be done prior to the next meeting?
Take the lowest quote and go.
Yeah, that's what I'm,
Okay.
you just want another quote. I mean,
good.
honestly, I never, I'm sure this is the gentleman that comes out and fixes them too.
Sure.
What you call him, on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I totally understand.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that way it'll give you
Charlie,
the authority
they may
to-
have, and this was their recommendation, so they may have called around. I do not have an answer for you though.
That's fine.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying.
But and that way you don't have to wait for the next
Okay,
meeting, and
that's
it can
fine.
just get handled, and the lower one gets the quote, gets the bid. Yeah. Makes sense.
Is that, you got a motion?
Sure.
Make a motion.
Make a motion,
Take the lowest quote on
get
replacing
another quote
the
on replacing the walk-in cooler evaporator and condenser.
condenser and evaporator,
Yeah,
yeah.
and take the lower of the two and go with it.
Okay. Oh, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any other questions?
What's that buzzing?
My phone.
Oh, okay.
You haven't heard that at other meetings?
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring.
Yes.
Mr. Jaden, do you have anything else, other business?
No, not really. You talked about the grass, you got that taken care of, right? Okay. No, nothing. Oh, yes. Are we gonna do anything with, First Street and, what is that by the park there? I can't even remember, my mind's going. No, north and south, by your shop.
Whip.
Whip, there you go. Cause I need to buy a new Ford Bronco and put it in rock call to get through that.
Over that dip?
Yes. Can we do something? I mean, I got a 4x4 off-road version, and I don't know if I can make it half the time. Seriously, that's bad.
My Chevy.
I've seen rear tires come off the ground, they've hit,
If we do anything, some in the future, maybe we should look at putting a culvert or something there so the campers that drive down there don't have to back up
Yeah.
400 feet and get in
Yeah.
people's lawns because they don't know how to back up.
So essentially, the only fix
In
to
the
that
future, but
would be a
that hole
culvert,
needs-
wouldn't it? I mean,
Last, when we had a culvert there, we put the dip in because it always blocked up all the water all the way back.
And a certain individual's railroad ties would float away.
okay.
Dip went in there, we've never had that problem, it's just that
Uh-huh.
it's,
So the only way would be is to spread it out to make it more gradual.
yeah, go all the way back towards the driveways.
Yeah. Yeah, I travel it a lot, I understand.
That's all.
Good point, though.
Mr. Gang?
I had a call from Dewey this morning that said that we had a little hiccup out at the lagoon again on some kind of a computer piece or electronic piece that controls the controls out there. Apparently there was not a surge protector on there. I'll let Dewey
We could not
elaborate on
find
this.
one through there, it's supposed to look like there's a little one there, and it's not there. Took out the PLC again.
Oh, that's by that, I suppose that Monday night when we had those couple dips. Yeah, those are bad, because those really hurt in a dropout.
So we went to Dakota Pump, went with one of their PLCs, because it was gonna take us a week to get it from Minnesota. This one cost us $500 more, but they had them on hand. Then in line, he put a surge protector with the power coming directly into it before it gets into any of the computers. But this is the second PLC that we went through in less than a year.
Because of surge.
Lightning or something. Mostly every time we have a problem, we got lightning, and 2 days later, we got something going on there.
Power jumps, it's not good on it.
Yeah.
Mr. Euchre?
Do we, at Hoots where we replaced some of that plumbing, is there some flooring that needs to be done and some end cap on the bar that got ripped off? Is that-
Center hasn't done that yet?
No. Oh, there you go, okay. And I was just gonna say, I got a call from Shane Fish, they were doing the audit, was looking for some more specific answers on that ambulance billing accounts receivables. I gave him basically what we had, and he's got us working on a fairly in-depth project to try to update that, so. When you see the audit come back, there's, I'm sure, gonna be some comments about that. And, yeah, just letting you know.
How's that program working?
You know, not too bad. We had a little trouble with helicopter flights, but otherwise, man, everything is pretty good shape right now.
Good.
You're talking about the shift? Or
The claims, yeah, you know, Medicare, which is a large part of our claims, they're pretty well paying 2 weeks, so as long as we get them filed.
Great. That's a good move.
That's it for me.
We need to trim all of the trees that are growing volunteer along our buildings, like the community center, the back of the library and stuff, and maybe put some Thoradon on it or something to kill them so they don't keep coming back.
So there's some back here?
There were,
At the community center.
Yeah, there were some at the community center, but yeah, around all our buildings. I just don't want volunteers even at the maintenance shop and the recycling center. Just make sure they kind of keep up with all of it.
Makes it look a lot neater.
Yeah.
1 yard.
don't change the color of them,
Cut them right down.
then you can poison them.
And there's a lot of street signs that are all bent up already. Sometime we should go through those and straighten them out, because some of them are bent. And I'm guessing that's from snow removal and cars probably hitting them when it was icy and bending them down, but there's quite a few of those.
Yeah.
I think that's it for what I have right now.
On Sixth Street, there's a few potholes showing up. Are we gonna fix those like we did
Yep.
last year?
once we get.
Are those new ones or are those?
There's,
Just the
I
ones
know
that-
there's
Well,
one down by
there's a new one by
right by
Casey's.
Casey's.
You're getting stuff that was hard to find, right? Yeah.
Yep, yep.
I talked to you the other day about it.
And
Yeah,
then,
there's about 3 or 4 of them.
can we put some, right there where the cement shape, before it goes on to Highway 81, there's a cement, and there's a huge drop-off hole right there on the curb by Casey's. Can we go gravel in there?
On the
Of course,
north-
they've
north
done a
side.
week and a half ago, they're not making our asphalt right now.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That needs to be.
Yeah, Mike's jumped us.
We're gonna start losing concrete there.
Yeah, yeah, because people drop off it, especially trucks that come
Yeah.
through there. Now I lost my train of thought, I had one more thing.
Come back to it.
I'll come back to it.
Just got a couple things here. Harold from the AMPI just to mention about some possibilities of when we're doing Main Street to do a small sewer project at the same time with their employee bathroom essentially is what they need to separate that from the plant. And there's just a couple of things which we don't need to take time with now is, because that's metered different, you know, that their usage, right? They have like a sewer meter kind of for all their water, don't they? It's not metered by water, is that correct?
No, they.
Solids.
Yeah, yeah. Because they use a lot of, a lot of their waste is milk water. Essentially, it just would be one toilet, but they want to do it to be compliant. They're grandfathered in, but if they're doing a project like that, he would feel that that would be the time to do it at that time. So that would be a consideration to talk. Maybe we can meet with Harold and Dewey and try to figure something out.
Would that be additional meter and
You know,
charge then?
Yeah, because it would not be metered.
It wouldn't be metered, it'd be
You
like a
know,
resident.
be underwater, it'd be under their water usage, you know.
That'll be the hard part. How many meters they got going in there for water? Just one, don't they?
Just one big one.
Yeah.
So just put a meter
how
to the
you-
toilet?
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially that would be, I mean, and that is it, I mean, literally, that is it, so.
Well, I'm sure they're gonna want the sink and everything in
Yeah, but you can put it ahead in that.
Put a meter in
Toilet
there.
flushes, it
Yep.
goes in,
Yep,
you shouldn't, they're paying their sewer bill, so the toilet should go right in with the.
okay, and that was just one of the concerns.
Right, it's just a saddle and a stub.
And essentially, if we're taking their sidewalk, it'd be right there, I mean, it would, I mean.
No, it'd be the time to do it.
Yeah, I understand it would be the time to do it, so, but, and they understand if there's any expense for doing that they would take care of that. I mean, he made that clear too, so.
Just let Sayers know so that they can get that included.
Yeah.
in the
We
bidding.
did, and
Yeah.
Paul replied back
Yeah, and
with
it
what
was-
needs to be addressed.
Yeah, and it wasn't nothing big at all, so, they'll appreciate that. There's a Joe Brewer at 720 South Juniper would like to tear down a garage there and was asking about the tipping fees being waived for that. So, is there a permit that he needs to?
He gets a
do that?
demolition permit, and then he can get on the agenda for the next meeting, and we can make a motion.
Okay,
It's actually a she,
Okay?
yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah,
No, Joe, yeah. Yep, so she just needs to come in and grab a,
get a building permit.
okay. Okay. A while ago, we had talked about separating the plastics, I'll just call it good and bad plastics, and the first load went out, and the price differences is 83 cents a pound for the good, 6 cents a pound for the bad. So definitely worth doing, and the guys are doing a great job with that and are kind of experimenting maybe with another, I think, just milk jugs. So they're kind of seeing it as a challenge now. So I thought that was very interesting. So that is definitely worth doing. And I think that's all I have. Oh, the
Terry, did you come up with
Microsoft
anything?
360.
Oh, I'm sorry, Blaine.
No, I'm sorry. I just saw my note here. I picked up the laptops, but it has nothing on it. Isn't there a Microsoft 365 business that we could, I think you can do that, put that on there at like no charge, right? Is that correct?
If it's 365, you're gonna pay a yearly fee.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. No one-
Yeah, you want to get a license.
So what do we,
I just use my Google apps.
all right, because there is nothing on them. I mean,
I mean, you can get Excel and Word document and all that.
just, okay.
That's what I've been using.
You just went on your, on Google?
I mean, we could
downloaded
look
the
into
apps.
what it would be for mass licensing and put it on all of them.
Okay. Okay, all right, no, that's all I didn't know about that, you know, just, was gonna ask about it, so, that's all.
Mr. Brewer, did you have something, anything, you're good?
I'm good, sir.
Mr. Walters?
Have you noticed we do got our trees all taken out of there at the landfill? They come in there and our rear is gonna come in there and, screen all them chips out there.
That'd be nice.
We'll take a bunch out for ourselves.
Take the nice small ones.
Nipping them through them. We started our patching, and county come in and did the chip seal, we're all done with that. And we're trying to get all these other ones and that's right now.
What other streets are you doing? What other streets are you doing?
Chip sealing?
Now, chip sealing you're done, but are you doing
Just go around all the other streets now and
patch?
start patching.
How are you gonna patch on my street?
You're getting a little mat put on yours.
In south of the Salem home, or,
South of Salem Home's getting a little mat. They're coming in here maybe a month. They were just gonna finish the chip seal and then go around and do their patching. When they get around here, do some asphalt roads for us.
Are you gonna grind it or?
No, just they'll spray over the top of it some tack oil and, put a nice little mat from there all the way to, and from Salem Home where we ended, all the way up to your road and get it all matched together.
Can you almost go a little further, because there's some potholes that are developing a little fast.
We can honestly probably go all the way to Cherry Street. After that, you get into Lawrence Road,
Yeah.
in front of my mother's, that's all new.
If you wanna know the truth, you could do the whole town.
Well,
We don't have enough money.
When are you guys gonna start spraying for mosquitoes?
Once they come out.
oh, they're all.
Oh, they're out.
They're out now.
I checked them by your house, those are county mosquitoes, so don't be jumping on them.
They probably come from the golfers.
They're coming from the arboretum.
And
Which is
Lonnie
annexed
didn't
in.
say, and I don't know, maybe he said before, that we do have our water controller and our antenna for the tower. And they are, Larson's and Van Tech are working together on a double tower right now. And they are still hoping in August that goes up. And we did start sweeping, and our sweeper broke down, one of the bearings went out, so one that you couldn't find. Nothing, very easy to fix.
Weren't we looking at a new?
We just got a new one.
And that's.
You're gonna have that, in a year, we're gonna go, what we're sticking in, we'll stick more than that in. Just one of the maintenance things on the sweeper. But while we're doing it, we're putting in four different bearings in the top roller, and all gotta come out, so we're just gonna replace it. Hopefully that should be done Monday. They got all the parts. And we do have a school July 20th in Sioux Falls.
Blaine, came to mind, did we take care of how to fill in a swimming pool?
Say
Have
that
we
again.
taken care of figured out how to fill in a swimming pool?
Yep, it's done.
That we
That's
don't have
done
any problem,
smoothly.
that's all
Just,
taken care of.
Just came out today and said it, everything went very well and cleaned
Whatever
up.
needed to
It
be
looks
done.
good. It looks good.
Okay.
They did a very respectful job and
Okay.
did very good.
Swimming pool?
Carol, did you?
What? Yeah. What was that? About what?
Our next meeting will be July 20th, 6:30.
Do you want to talk about this at all?
Excuse me?
You want to talk about this at all?
You won't be here? Where you gonna be?
Okay. And then what about these two things? Judge being hired, they need to make a motion to hire him, and that's parking.
Won't get back until like,
Parking south and west sides of maintenance building between the Rebel site and Rebel, no, between the.
Wear a mega hat,
Cycle
see if you're
center
back.
and the maintenance building.
Dewey,
I better shut this off.
We haven't declared an executive session.
you just, you missed it.
Huh?
You missed it.
Oh,
The motion was made.
To go into executive session?
Go ahead.
I move to go into executive session, personnel pending litigation contract negotiation.
Thanks. You're very welcome. Yep, no, appreciate it.
Second, someone?
second.
Aye.
Just so you know. Get it cleaned up.